Nigeria has been selected as the host country for the 2027 Intra-African Trade Fair, that's the Iatf, with Lagos serving as a host city, a milestone marking the first time that the continent's premier trade platform will be held in Nigeria. The announcement was made at the Iatf 2025 in Algiers by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who chairs the Iatf Advisory Council, underscored the fair's role in advancing African economic integration. Previous editions of the Iatf said to have generated over $120 billion in trade and investment deals. Today we'll engage with the Honorable Minister of Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole. She's joining us right here in our Lagos studios. Great to have you, ma. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. It's great to be here.
Fantastic. So the last time I spoke to you, you were heading PEBEC, and now you have a completely different hat, at this point, but still, related to enabling business and, getting our exports up and maybe reducing some of those imports. I'd like to get your experience, so far. What's it been like before we get into the conversation?
Well, stepping away from the protection of the presidency, it's actually good to be able to be on the other side. I was tracking ministers, governors, National Assembly, agencies, and now I have the opportunity to push some of the needles, some of the reforms that we were proposing at the time. So it's been a 9-month journey, over 9 months actually, and very, very interesting. A lot has happened in a short time.
Right, a lot has really, happened, definitely. And, looking at hosting the IATF, some would say it feels like hosting a World Cup.
Yes.
At this point.
Yes, I said that. Yes.
You said that.
Yes.
Exactly. So break it down for us. What are the potential benefits, for Nigeria and Lagos? When you think about, hosting this kind of event, first thing you're wondering is, oh my goodness, traffic in Lagos. How are we going to handle all of that?
Okay. So let me start from, you asked about my appointment. November, I get into office, and this was one of the letters that came on my desk about a week after I was appointed. And I thought, no, this opportunity cannot go by. So this was the very first approval I got from Mr. President, so it has a special place in my heart. We then put together a bid in 10 days. And when you think about the bid and all you have to put together, you have to get approvals about waivers of taxes, you have to look at infrastructure, you have to think of where to host. So Mr. President for approving us to do this, and the Lagos State Governor for really owning the space, championing. The whole Lagos State team was phenomenal, all the commissioners. We had to go through a due diligence exercise in February. The AfCFTA team came in with their partners, AfCFTA, AU, coming together, but there are a whole slew of organizations that put together this event, and they were looking at everything. The number of hotels in Lagos, the infrastructure at the airports, the seaport infrastructure, number of hospital beds, interconnectivity, intermodal transportation. We took them on Lagos Rail. We took them all around. We toured extensively the National Theatre, our newly renovated Pride and Joy. We also told them that in 2027, we'll be celebrating 50 years of Festac. That's the Festac anniversary. Lagos being the melting pot of culture in Nigeria and Africa. It's a very, very, very intermingling of all manner of people, sights, sounds, foods, fabric, culture, everything you can think of, the home of Afrobeat, the home of Nollywood. And so we had a digital trade launch for them. We had a cultural dinner for them at J.K. Randall Center in Lagos. We put up a top-notch, and we won the bid. So it was announced in Algiers last Thursday. We were happy to receive the flag, which we'll be presenting to Mr. President and to the Lagos State Governor, what this means for the economy, for the entire Nigerian economy. Lagos, Nigeria, is the gateway between West Africa and Central Africa. Nigeria is the gateway. Also between Northern Africa and Southern Africa. This trade fair has been hosted 3 times in Northern Africa and once in South Africa, and has generated, you said the figures, over $100 billion in deals, and also they're expecting 30,000 visitors in Algiers this year. because of our location, because of our demographic, we've looked at the land border and air connectivity. We are expecting about 50,000. We're planning for 50,000 visitors. So that means working...
Almost 2x Algiers.
Yes.
Almost.
Yes. Because of our centrality,
right.
because of the level of excitement, because of the trade routes that we have on the Nigerian corridor from northern Nigeria all the way to our eastern borders, our western borders, our sea connectivity. There's a lot going on for intra-African trade. And so we're excited for our MSMEs, we're excited for all the businesses. It's the first time it's coming to West Africa. The whole of West Africa is excited, and we're ready to showcase those goods. Nigeria always has the biggest contingent at this trade fair. And this trade fair is the largest in Africa. It's one of the largest in the world. And so we're also bringing in, we're digital trade champions. So we're leveraging our expertise in technology to bring something special to this trade fair so that it's in multiples. We're theming it the future of trade. So we're going AI, we're going digital. We're going for what we're known for.
Fantastic.
Nigeria just like explodes.
Right. And, definitely talking about explosion, would love to see the impact, on small businesses. I'm sure, some be watching at this point and wondering, wow, I sell this goods, I have this service, I would like to participate, and they might feel they don't have what it takes, to get in there. Talk to me about how you're planning to get small businesses to come on that fair and actually, make life-changing deals.
So every time this fair has held, Nigeria has actually taken and partnered with subsidized for our MSMEs to go on this fair. We partnered with NACIMA, we partnered Nexim, Smedan, Bank of Industry, NEPC have all taken some of their small businesses, even if it's like a subsidy, sometimes being able to sponsor fully, businesses that have demonstrated ability to scale, ability to export. And to export, we, with AfCFTA, we launched our 5th year roadmap, our 5th year implementation. And what we're doing with AfCFTA is explaining to businesses from standards, from market access, from regulatory barriers, all the things they need to know. So there's a lot of training and advocacy going on. We're going to be on roadshows around the country to make sure that across the country, because this is a countrywide intervention, that agro businesses, services businesses, light manufacturing businesses all know where their goods are needed. This work has already commenced. About 3 months ago, we launched an air cargo corridor with Uganda Air, flat rate for our MSMEs. We started with our women-led exporting businesses, and so we mapped out 13 countries in southern and eastern Africa where Nigerian goods are in demand. We also supported that with a trade intelligence tool. We know that Nigerian apparel is in high demand. We know that our light manufacturing, our cosmetics, shea butter, our wigs, a lot of feminine products are in demand. And so that market is open. Businesses that export handbags, that export clothes, that export shea butter cosmetics, that export Zobo, teas, different things like that.
And I guess that's why we saw the latest move there by the federal government, suspending exports of shea nuts.
Yeah, so when
at this time, you just mentioned shea butter there.
Yes, when you get to shea nut, we want, we have some comparative advantages in Africa. Shea nut is only grown in about 21 African countries in the world. That's just it. And yet it's used in almost all cosmetics. It's used in chocolate. And so the opportunity to add value before exporting the raw shea nut is incremental. We had other countries already banning the export of shea nut. So we're working with the stakeholders to make sure that we don't just, put a blanket ban. We work on productivity, on production, on value addition, and then we can export from shea butter to finished products across the country and the world. Right,
and it's for 6 months. Definitely we're keeping eyes on, on that one, at this time and see how, the impact.
And it's cocoa also. We're, all the policies, speak to Mr. President's Nigeria First intervention, speak to domestic investors. We have a strong emphasis on that, supporting them in production, supporting them in competitiveness. So all that particular ecosystem and the value chain, how we want to increase value and keep first in country and then in sub-region, in region, and then in the world.
Right. And, talking about the fair, at this point, we want a fair where the goods are mostly made in Nigeria. We don't want to see imported goods being sold at that fair.
No. It's all about productivity. So Nigerian businesses, you should have seen the stands. I'm sure you've been seeing some of the videos of me touring the stands.
Right.
They're taking proudly Nigerian products. A lot of the things I just mentioned, the apparel, honey, different kinds of products that are made in Nigeria. They're packaged, well packaged, global standards, meet all the certification, and they're in high demand. In Algiers right now, we have a portal. We're drawing that trade intelligence. We took a QR code that every exhibitor, every Nigerian exhibitor has on their desk. So whoever is buying that Nigerian product, we're collecting the data, aggregating it, so other businesses at home can also know that this market wants this product, and then they go for it. This is all in line with our Renewed Hope agenda. Item number 7, where this ministry sits, focuses on acceleration of non-oil exports. And so that's what this ministry is all about. That's the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment.
So talking about, after now, AfCFTA, in your view, how much improvement have we made, trading within that corridor as a country?
Yeah, so Nigeria, we started this in 2021. The agreement came into force. And so we did our 5th year. By the provisions of the agreement, every country is supposed to do a 5-year analysis and a report. We announced in January that we would do this when the Secretary General visited. We did it, and we took it to Algiers, our 5th year report. So we've chronicled what worked, what didn't, the areas that needed improvement with trade facilitation, the areas where we're doing very well with services, with exports of goods on some particular products. Like CBN announced, our exports to the rest of Africa increased 24% year-on-year, this Q1. And so we're working on the areas that need a lot more advocacy, a lot more explaining to businesses what it takes, supporting them. We're going to release a program in 2026 that speaks to training on market access and standards all across the country, all the local governments of the country. That's going to be one of our legacy projects for 2026.
All right, so let's look at some data now. Latest official snapshot of Nigeria's merchandise trade. We're seeing total trade there about 36 trillion. There was an increase about 6%. Exports about 20 trillion. Imports 15 trillion. So we're seeing a surplus. There, that's good. Top export partners: India, Netherlands, United States, France, Spain. Top import partners, and we're seeing China. That's leading there. And we've seen what's been playing out with tariffs in the global scene, so far. And I'm wondering, when you hear trade policies coming out of the U.S., do you roll your eyes and feel like, oh my God, this is working against our export plans, as a country? How are you seeing that?
No, I don't think so. So our trading with the U.S. is mainly an energy trading relationship. Our non-oil exports to the U.S., the leading ones are fertilizer, lead, urea, and that's not doing badly as well. That's a win-win situation. They want our urea, they want our fertilizer, and we're more than happy to export to the U.S. market. We have a good commercial investment partnership. We also do a lot with the U.S. on services, technology-led businesses, and so we have a good relationship there. So there's a lot of optics globally. What we will be watching is AGOA. The U.S. is having a domestic legislation review, which will be coming up later this month. And we're looking forward to hearing what the outcomes of that are. But just to say that our non-oil exports in particular have a vast array of markets. As is to, you've seen Mr. President in Brazil, you've seen the VP of Colombia visiting Nigeria. There's a lot of, just in Algiers, the Nigerian-Algerian Chamber of Commerce, we had a meeting in Algiers. There's actually a land route to trade Nigeria and Algeria bilateral trade. And so there's a lot to do with AfCFTA. There's a lot to do with ECOWAS. You saw the first West African Economic Summit hosted by Mr. President as chair of ECOWAS. And what to do. In that, even the deal room, about $400 million of interest in transactions. Our job as FMITI and as a government really is to enable businesses to match them. We'll be in UNGA in a couple of weeks having a Nigeria Investment Day, just bringing leading investors, global investors, and matchmaking them with Nigerian businesses. This is a tight-knit meeting. It's a working meeting, really, and that's what it has to be about.
Right, and looking at the borders, at this point, they have a way of either slowing trade or just, stopping trade, at this point. Looking at our borders now, How is your ministry, collaborating, with customs to make sure, trade is facilitated and not expensive, when it comes into the country, boosting up inflation?
Really, I'll be honest with you, it's the best it's ever been. We're really blessed to have a Comptroller General of Customs that is really reform-minded. He's very, very clued into the trade facilitation agenda. So all his work is galvanized towards supporting trade. We collaborate very, very closely and very, very frequently. We were in Algiers together. He is hosting all heads of customs across Nigeria, across Africa, in Abuja, Nigeria, from the 17th to 19th of November. And that is to really distill into the agreement is there, the trade facilitation laws and regulations are there, but how do customs officials make it work? Mr. President gave matching orders. Nigeria has to have a working single window, which is a technology, a portal solution that facilitates trade. That work has been ongoing, and we expect by Q1 to have the first phase of the pilot agencies running on a national single window. Now, these are digital public infrastructure that support and enable trade. This administration has been leading on that. That's why we're digital trade champions under AfCFTA. We continue to look at opportunities where we can foster collaboration. And so you even saw us together in Benin Republic speaking with President Talon was here with President Tinubu on the administration. They agreed together that they wanted the relationship between Nigeria and Benin Republic, which is a very symbiotic one, to work effectively. And so President Tinubu was there in 2023, and President Talon was here about 2 months ago for the West African Economic Summit. So we went on a delegation I led to Benin Republic, speaking on how we would stop as an administration the smuggling. So both administrations, G2G, have seen the trade facilitation, how we would make that work. So those are the kinds of, whether it's bilateral relationships, or whether it's with the UAE, Brazil, whether it's closer to home like our neighbors next door, or whether it's regional arrangements or multilateral, we make sure that in every situation we're looking at market access, we're looking at standards, we're looking at access to capital, we're looking at G2G supporting deal rooms and de-risking transactions. That's what this administration is prioritizing, having successfully stabilized the economy. It's now time for growth. We said at the beginning of the year that 2025 is an inflection point, and we're beginning to see that materialize, whether it's from our ratings, whether it's from the figures you were quoting, the statistics and the improvement in our trade statistics, and the best is yet to come.
Right, and talking about the best, yet to come at this point, I'm just imagining, okay, it's time, and we're now hosting, the trade fair, the Iatf, right here, in Lagos, Nigeria, and we're done. How do we measure, the benefits going forward?
Okay, we're going to test it. So what Iatf does is that every year, the preceding year, you host a conference called CANEX. Now, CANEX will be held in Lagos in Q4 of 2026, November of 2026. And CANEX is a cultural sort of festival, call it a mini Festac. And it brings together art, culture, entertainment, food, name it. We'll be hosting CANEX. Now, let me just let you know what that would mean. Wizkid was the closing act for the conference on CANEX in in Algiers. And I said to him, this conference is coming next to Lagos, Nigeria. And he said, that is home. So you can imagine the expectation. All Afrobeat, Nollywood, Funke Akindele, we flew together. She was also in Algiers for CANEX. They are all our ambassadors. They're the ones going to, the crowd that Lagos is going to pull. Everybody that hears that Lagos is hosting CANEX and IATF, the excitement is palpable. It's an exciting city. People want to come here. People love to shop Nigerian. People love, whether it's from our food, from our fashion, our services, entertainment. Do you know that people have fake Nigerian weddings as themes internationally?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yes. So whether it's from Ashoebi to everything, we have a lot. It's really Nigeria to the world. And you're going to see the multiplier effect.
Definitely looking forward to
I
that.
should say also
Right.
that everything that anyone may think is a challenge is actually an opportunity. If anyone thinks traffic may be a challenge, this may be time to like acquire some Uber and Bolt vehicles, because you're going to make money. If you think, oh, where will we have all the hotel rooms? This will be an opportunity to scale up. This will be an opportunity to even plan that your apartment is an Airbnb. And then you take a vacation and leave that space. That's what people do in Davos. In Davos, nobody that lives in Davos is there during Davos week. They rent out their apartments, they make some good money. In a week, you can make money that can keep you for a year. So everything, food, restaurants, nightclubs, beaches, Lagos, and Nigeria. Every governor is plugged in. Every state is going to showcase. All the products we have are going to be highlighted and exhibited to the world.
Fantastic. So you got business advice right there from the Honorable Minister for IATF. Just leave your homes and rent it out for people, and you can make money, you know, from that, and go out there and put your business right there on the map. Thank you so much. It was great having you. Honorable Minister Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment.
Thank you.
Nigeria. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.